Let's talk about that battle between McLaren and Alpine. And Tess has been working overtime on a couple of graphics for us. We like graphics, and you're going to like this one.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at the point scoring comparison, I think, first of all, between the two teams at this Austrian Grand Prix. Coming into the weekend, McLaren had 73 points and Alpine 67. We can have a look at that graphic now on the screen. You're going to see this nice bar graph. I think we're going to see this nice bar graph. Tell me if I'm wrong.
There we go.
Here it is. Be patient. And as you can see now, McLaren have 73 points. This is before the weekend starts. Alpine have 67. 6 points is the gap. In the sprint race, only one of the four drivers scores a point. Esteban Ocon scores 3 points, and that brings the gap down to just 3. And in the Grand Prix, Esteban scores another 10 points for finishing 5th in his 100th Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso scores another 1 point for 10th. And then the two McLarens, Norris scores 6 points for finishing 7th, and Daniel Ricciardo, only his 3rd point scoring finish of the year, scores 2 points for finishing in 9th. So I guess the question there is, they're now equal on points, Alex. Are you surprised by how well the Enstone team, how well Alpine is doing this year?
Yes, very pleasantly surprised, because this is actually my favorite battle to watch this year between these two teams. I mean, both teams have history. Let's not forget, Danny Rick went from Alpine to McLaren, well, then Renault. So there's a bit of history there anyway. So this battle is going to be really tasty to watch for the whole year. I think both Ocon and Alonso are doing a great job scoring a lot of points right now, and the car is getting really good. McLaren, though, they need Ricciardo to get stronger if they're going to try and finish ahead of Alpine. But yeah, this is a great little battle between them. I'm very impressed with how this car has come along, and especially in Alonso's hands. I know Ocon scored more points, but I've been more impressed with some of Alonso's drives, and I think this team probably looks odds-on favourite to beat McLaren, just purely on the form of the last 3 races. Because McLaren they're not being as consistent, right?
Because on Friday, McLaren had a lot of problems. They had DRS issues on Daniel Ricciardo's car that really interrupted his free practice running. And Lando Norris had a problem with his new power unit fitted for this weekend. Had to go back to the old one. They had a brake-by-wire issue in qualifying. So they qualified, as you can see, Lando Norris 15th, Daniel Ricciardo 16th, compared to 5th and 8th for the two Alpine cars. The McLarens recovered really nicely to 10th and 11th, whereas unfortunately Fernando Alonso, to your point, dramatic always Fernando, having qualified 8th, the car wouldn't start on the grid, and he started in the pit lane, started 19th, because there were 2 cars in the pit lane, himself and Zhou Guanyu. And then in the Grand Prix, 5th for Ocon, 7th and 9th for Norris and Ricciardo, 10th for Alonso. So it was a sort of damage limitation, bit of a recovery situation for McLaren. The other thing, Alex, I was looking at this, I was trying to work out what's really happening between McLaren and Alpine. I looked back at the last 11 races to see if I could see any kind of pattern in the results, and I can't see one. It seems to me that when there's a weekend when McLaren's doing well, Alpine doesn't, and vice versa. Do you think the cars are suited to different circuits, or is it the engines? Is anything about them?
Yeah, I think definitely the cars are suited to different tracks. Especially in the beginning of the year, I thought you'd see the yo-yo effect quite a bit more. But I think Alpine have found something now, because the car looks a bit more consistent. I don't see it being so inconsistent. Was it 3 races now? They've had top 10 qualifying at 3 very different tracks. Was it Canada, Britain, and then of course Red Bull Ring? So those are very different tracks now. So Alpine, I don't think they've cracked something about that car, and it's going well. McLaren, though, you saw that their qualifying performance for Red Bull was nowhere, but somehow they got both cars into the race. So they're still missing tricks with that car, which has been a trend since the very beginning. Let's not forget how quick they were in preseason testing, and then they were nowhere in Australia because of the brake issues and stuff. But yeah, they still got a bit of head scratching to do, and maybe they're a little bit in the Mercedes boat. And that makes me now wonder, is it a power unit issue where they're still trying to understand how to get the most out of their cars?